Yo, I saw Floyd walking into the fight wearing an OnlyFans hat, and I was like, yo, are we confident that Floyd knows what that hat says? This is the Defending Undefeated on this foodie most fighters in the motherfucking world. Nobody asked Shawn. Hosted by the motherfucking Diamond Boy, Shawn Murray, international heartthrob, heir to the Murrays, here, pop my fortune, and of course, the first Jamaican in the Kentucky Derby. Where do we start? Hey, man, don't say nothing about my hair. This is how it is now. It's getting in my eyes now, so I'm wearing it like this. I saw Floyd walking into the fight wearing an OnlyFans hat, and I was like, yo, are we confident that Floyd knows what that hat says? You could take that as a joke about Floyd not being able to read, and that's how you took it. But what I'm saying is we've now seen that Floyd will chase any bag. So he might have just, like, niggas just might have just put that hat on and said, yo, you made $20 million if you wear this. And he'd be like, I'll put it on. Niggas was like, is Floyd Mayweather launching an OnlyFans? Like, shit, the guy, that shit might as well have said Odd Future for all he knew. I don't want to insult Floyd Mayweather for not being able to read because, one, we don't know if that nigga can read now. We know that at one point he certainly couldn't read very well. That shit is sad. You know what I mean? That a grown man, not even that he can't read, but that the people in his life didn't think it was important to make sure he could read. But furthermore, I know this is litigating no shit, but furthermore, it don't even matter if the nigga can read. Floyd Mayweather is worth like $500 million or more. Like, if you can make that much money and never read, like, why would you read? Why would you read? Like, because the argument is, you know how much money people probably stealing from you because you ain't read the contract. He still has all that other money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he has $1 billion, like, $750 million when he could have had $2 billion. Like, who gives a fuck, nigga? That's a lot of, like, it makes no functional difference. I always say to people, when you get to a certain level of, like, multi-millions, you're not really living that much different of a life than a nigga with billions of dollars. Like, Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos functionally probably live about the same life. The only difference is if it's like a new Bugatti that comes out, Jeff Bezos will probably be first on the list and Jay-Z will probably be like 12th. But they could both afford the same Bugatti. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing you could buy that costs $1 billion. And if you could, you wouldn't spend your own money. I might have said this on the podcast before, but that's just, anyway. That Floyd and Logan Paul shit was whack. And not even on some, like, oh, it's bastardizing the sport of boxing. It's embarrassing to the sport. It's disrespectful to the sport. And I don't even care about that shit. Who gives a fuck about the integrity of the sport? My issue with it is more so, the shit would have been better if it was Ocho Cinco versus Logan Paul. The last 10, 15 years of Floyd's career was making deliberate decisions about limiting risk and maximizing profit. You know what I'm saying? He was, almost all the fights he's taken in the last, 10, 15 years have been fights that he knew he wasn't going to lose. He was never going to lose to Logan Paul, ever. There was never a chance. In his mind, at least. There's always the puncher's chance type of shit, but it wasn't going to happen. Floyd is obviously one of the greatest defensive boxers of all time, but Floyd's claim to fame is the 50-0 record. You know what I'm saying? If a nigga beat him, even in an unofficial bout, that puts a damper on his whole thing, the undefeated record. So it would have been more interesting, like, on some celebrity deathmatch shit. You know what I mean? Get Ocho versus Logan Paul. I think that would have been a better matchup. Ocho got slumped. You hate to see it. I thought Ocho looks, decent for a non-boxer through most of that until you got slumped. But you get slumped sometimes, and that it is what it is. That's the thing. There's no moral victories. Remember last week when I said there's no moral victories when you, like, if you get jumped and you don't hit the ground. Niggas is on TikTok. I posted this shit on TikTok, and it went briefly viral. That shit had like 56,000 views, and then TikTok took it down because it was featuring a fight. But niggas was on there saying, like, arguing me in the comments. It's like, bruh, that's not how it works. Like, bruh, if you took 75 punches to the head and you went home telling people you won, that's just the concussion talking, bruh. That's CTE. CTE has taken over at that point because you're not going to tell me you won. I guess this is my point. The niggas that jumped him, right, they win, but you don't win in the fucking the hearts of the hearts of the fans type of shit. You know what I mean? We got to make a distinction between those two things. What I'm talking about is the official record of, like, the things that took place in our physical space. Who was the victor and who was not? If you got 2 black eyes and 2 cracked teeth, and the niggas that you fought, whether it was 1 or 7, don't have any of that, you lost the fight. You took 100 punches to the ribs and skull. Your entire skeleton is screaming at you for the next 2 weeks. But your argument is, I'm the victor because I never touched the earth. Like, bruh, if your argument is, I won this fight because I never saw the bottom of a boot, like, you lost, bruh. I don't see one Tim print on my face, nigga. I won. Nah, bruh, you didn't win, and it's okay. And that's the shit that you tell yourself to make yourself feel better when you at home licking your wounds, you feel me? You like, nah, these niggas had to jump me. Maybe they did have to jump me, maybe they didn't have to, but they did. And you were a magnet for a lot of clenched fists, my nigga. I'm sorry. I guess I might as well just address every issue I have with shit niggas was mad about that I said in earlier episodes. Motherfuckers told me, oh, how you gonna say cereal's overrated? My point is this. If you think cereal is good, right? So you're saying cereal is a good breakfast option. Take every other breakfast option that there is that you consider good and rank them. I promise you cereal comes in dead last. I promise you. It's not better than French toast. It's not better than waffles. It's not better than pancakes. It's not better than migas tacos. It's not better than fucking egg and cheese. Like what is it better than? You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point. What is it better than? That's all I'm asking you. And if it's only better than like if you put 10 items and it comes in 8, still overrated. All right. On to Nobody's Ask Shawn. Sending your questions to nobodyaskshawn at nobodyaskshawn@gmail.com or Nobody Ask Shawn on Instagram. Text me. DM me, whatever you have to do. Just send in your questions. Appreciate all of them. First question, which Pokemon do you choose in a Pokemon restart? Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charizard? Come on, bro. It's Squirtle Squad over here, bro. I've been Squirtle Squad my entire life. I will always be Squirtle Squad. Like, Squirtle was just the dopest motherfucker there was. The Squirtle, the glass, yo, just the shades alone elevate Squirtle above all these other niggas. Squirtle was so dope. Squirtle was such a good fucking Pokemon, right? Like not even as a fighter, but as a being. That Ash came across the Squirtle Squad, he's like, I can't hold on to you, bro. This is a world where people keep fucking these creatures as pets and slaves for combat. And even Ash had to say, bro, I can't do it, bro. It's the Squirtle Squad. Go be free. He didn't do that to too many other Pokemon, so you got to give him that. What is the most controversial Nobody's Asked Shawn question that you've been asked, and what is the most ridiculous? The most controversial and the most ridiculous so far has been, can anyone out Pizza the Hut? By far. It was offensive. It was ill-conceived. It was inconsiderate. Trying to fuck up the bag in the future, the Pizza Hut bag that may be coming. But also, there's a question coming up that's gonna that's pretty ridiculous and controversial as well. And I'm gonna get to it right now. How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Now, this is a controversial and ridiculous question, and it's not because a man asked me this question, and it has nothing to do with any pausing or anything of that sort. It's like, bruh, I never understood this question because the motherfucker in the commercial and the motherfucker who asked me this question as well, they walked up to the like the nigga in the commercial, right? He walks up to the owl with a Tootsie Pop. The nigga who's asking me this question, you can easily acquire a Tootsie Pop, my nigga. Give it a fucking few licks and you'll find out. Do your own research. Make some tally marks. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out. I don't understand why you got to come to me. Now, I know. This is a show in which I answer audience questions. I know that. But there are some questions that I feel like you as a you know what I mean, as a sentient being on this earth with agency and sovereignty, can figure that shit out yourself. And also, the owl answered the motherfucking question. It's 1, a 2, a 3, a 3. So yeah, come on, man. Don't be asking me the bullshit.
1, 2, 3, 3.
What would teachers and students say about high school you? Talk too motherfucking much. It was very short. I'm a lot taller than I was in high school. Very ashy, dusty, some would say. I've evolved in many ways. I've gotten taller. I've gotten moist. Or moisturized, rather. I like saying moist because you know what? Everybody who says, oh, the word moist makes me feel weird. Shut the fuck up. No, it doesn't. You just say that because somebody on the internet said that before, and now you're like, oh, it makes me feel weird. No, it don't. Bruh, moist. It's fine. This shit is a regular ass word, bruh. Like white girls say that shit and they be like, that shit makes me uncomfortable. You got bigger concerns. How come you're not uncomfortable when you drunk at a fucking party and you're screaming out the N-word when you hear it in a rap song? You need to be uncomfortable about that instead of the word moist. And if you're not a white girl, don't act like a white girl. But yeah, moisturized now and things are different. What has happened that is making you do the Arthur Fist meme in the last week? So much has happened. The problem is with this question is I don't have fun things to answer. And like a lot of niggas just be having cool fun shit like, man, I didn't get the sneakers app fucked me over. I didn't win the raffle or some shit. You know what I mean? I don't have that. It's just my shit be misery. You know what I mean? The shit that be making me mad be like real depressed and inducing shit. But honestly, this past week I was kind of exaggerating. This past week hasn't really been bad at all. It's been a decent week. But I've kind of crafted an image of myself as a fucking miserable person. So sometimes it's easy to fall back into that even when that's not the case. And I should be mindful of that. Was Chadwick Boseman's Oscar snub the most disrespectful in Oscar history? That's a good question. I won't say the most disrespectful. There's been a ton of incredible Oscar snubs. But I think the reason it felt particularly egregious is because of the way the Oscars did the program. So when it's a posthumous Oscar, it is a great performance, you kind of almost automatically assume it's going to go to the person that passed away, even if it's not necessarily deserved. Because like in this case, by all accounts, I still haven't seen The Father yet, but by all accounts, Anthony Hopkins was incredible in The Father, and he deserved an Oscar. But there's also a lot of politics in the Oscar shit where it's like sometimes like you old as fuck, you already got an Oscar. Like why do we even got to give this nigga another Oscar when there's another person here that, you know what I mean? It'd be great for him to get an Oscar, and this is their last chance. But I think they fucked up by moving Best Picture and putting Best Actor last because they assumed, I mean, kind of reasonably that it would be Chadwick, but it wasn't, and that's why you don't assume. But so it felt worse than the actual snub was, and I think like you take Chadwick Boseman's death out of it, I don't think it's a particularly more egregious snub than like Green Book winning Best Picture over pretty much any other nominees that year. There's all sorts of snubs every year. And also, a snub is relative. You know what I'm saying? Snubs are very kind of what I was saying about like this not being a particularly egregious one. Like snubs are relative. You know what I mean? Like a lot, like with Chadwick Boseman, for example, right? I know a lot of people who don't even watch the Oscars that said it was a snub. So if you didn't watch the Oscars, which will make me assume you probably didn't even watch most of the nominees. So how the fuck would you know it's a snub? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you know about snubs? You just liked a performance or an actor or actress or film, you know what I mean, and you wanted to win, which is true of everyone. You know, there's very few people out there who watch every nominee. It's difficult to do a lot of years. But I mean, I don't know if it was the most egregious, but it was tough. It was tough. I mean, especially because it was like, it was his last chance to get an Oscar. What is the greatest franchise in sports? What do you mean by greatest? And of all time, in America, in the world. Yeah, I mean, the greatest sports franchise in America is the UConn women's basketball team. Final question, favorite foreign film? Come on, you can't do this to me. It's impossible over here. Gonna make me pick one foreign film over here. I can't do one. No, I can't do one. I couldn't. No. However, I could do like, I could give you like a list of 10. Try not to list anything that I've said before on the show, so that it takes a couple of Bong Joon-ho's out, takes a Park Chan-wook out, takes a couple of Hayao Miyazaki's out. Let's see. This is in no order. Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, great movie. Y Tu Mamá También. It's like, that's like a foreign film 101. Like, how do you not love that movie? It's one of the best, movies. Castle in the Sky, love that movie. I always say I kind of like Miyazaki's like adventure films a little bit more. Matty Diab's Atlantics. Awesome ghost movie from Africa. It's actually a French director, African-French director. Shirkers, Shoplifters. I always say this would make a great double feature with Parasite, Shoplifters. It came out in 2018, I believe. Really good movie. Train to Busan. One of the best action horror movies of the last ever. The Raid and The Raid 2. I feel like it takes up 2 spots. I'm going to make it 1, even though that's 2 separate movies. Those are the best action movies. Like, those movies and the Mission Impossible movies are the gold standard for action for me. Kung Fu Hustle. It's just a great, hilarious. Stephen Chow is just awesome. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's one of the, that movie is, it's a perfect movie. It is gorgeous. It has some of the best fight scenes in the world. Some of the best wuxia. Great love story. It's just a perfect movie. One of those movies when like I was young. I remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon being like popular in the media, and I believe we went to see it. But like it was one of those like in the zeitgeist type of movies that, along with The Matrix, are both movies where it's like I remember it being a big deal, but I didn't really appreciate it when I was a kid. But just seeing it as I watched that every couple years, and it's like it's just gorgeous. Tampopo, awesome movie about food. Just it's a great movie about a woman who runs a ramen shop. I'm not really gonna say much more than that, but it's a great movie. And of course, Return to the 36th Chamber. I feel like I might have recommended that on this show before. And if I did or didn't, it doesn't make a difference. That's gonna be my recommendation for the week. Return to the 36 Chambers is just like a lean, perfect kung fu movie. It's funny, it's witty, it's got a great like bare bones story, but you can relate to. A lot of people love the 36 Chamber of Shaolin, which is like the first movie, which they're kind of a series, but they're not really actually that related. But I prefer Return to 36. I think it's the better movie in almost every way. You don't get Karate Kid without Return to 36 Chamber, and it's not the same type of movie at all. Like I think Return to 36 is leagues better, but the sort of learning to do kung fu without realizing you're learning to do kung fu thing is a big part of this movie, and it's just great. So yeah, that's my recommendation for the week. That's the episode for the week. Like, subscribe, share, save, tell it to your friends. And if you're in Connecticut, come to my show at Trinity in New Haven tonight. And if you can't come to that one, come to my show on the 16th at Bad Dog Brewery in Torrington. Yeah, that's it. And as always, Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you, nigga.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.